Hello, everybody. It's David Vose. It's a beautiful fall. It's really fall. There's beautiful colors all throughout my property now. Most of the trees are bright orange. I should take a picture of that. I'll try to do a video on how beautiful the trees are tomorrow. Guys, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful day. It's a beautiful time to be living. And so today, I'd like to share some very important information with you. I think you're going to learn something from this. I think it will be interesting and compelling. So I was just thinking, meditating, and I was looking at my dogs, and I was looking at Maggie, and she's just so sweet and kind and sitting there and basking in the sun this morning. And I remember thinking, man, she sure looks kind and simple and sweet. And she's practically sitting on her sister. They're definitely friends. They play together, but boy, they became rivals when they got pregnant, and they gave birth the same day, and they didn't know whose puppies was whose, and they would fight. And I thought at the time Maggie looked a little mean spirited, but I also remembered that, I would think about what would be make her evil. Why would she be angry? Why she's trying to steal the other mother's pups, her sister's puppies. And that's evil. I was thinking, that's bad dog. And then I remembered, my mother's love for me. She wouldn't have stopped at anything to get me back. And if that dog thought those were his puppies, I understand why he did that. Even to the point where he would fight his own sister. She thought those puppies were hers. And as I was thinking about that, I realized how much she'd changed. The puppies are now, I don't know how old they are. Maybe one of you listeners can remember when I thought I had made a point to remember their birthday, but I probably have forgotten. But they're just little. But they're well weaned now. They've been weaned for a week or two. Probably a week or, something. And I'm getting to a point. Maggie more or less dried up anyway. She's not nursing. So she hasn't really had to be a mother the way she had to be a mother for 4 or 5 weeks or whatever it was. She was just constantly nurturing and caring for those pups, defending them. And now both of them are lying there together. They're sisters again. And I noticed, and I've been noticing it like for a week or two, Maggie is a different dog. She's more timid than anything now. She doesn't try to fight for anything. I can tell she's been weathered. I can tell that pregnancy, like, mentally took something out of her. Yes, physically. I mean, she lost a lot of weight there for a while. Both of them did, and they're back up to, they're not skin and bone. They're getting some, it's hard. They're still, off and on the dogs are trying to nurse. I don't think she's got any milk, though. But anyway, it hadn't been long, so they're just now getting back, and I don't think they're up to where their weight should be yet, but they're getting close. But there they are. Just, they forgiven. There's nothing to forgive. They don't even remember it. They don't bring it to mind. But their nature is, once everything's said and done, the true nature. And she's no longer nurturing. She's no stress. You could just tell it's like a big weight lifted off of her. And she's a different individual now because, I mean, don't get me wrong, she'll never stop being who she is, a protector. integrity. Take care of your children. Love, love those kids. Those kids mean everything to her. And she'll bite you if you try to hurt one of them. I'll guarantee it. But that doesn't make her bad. That makes her good. That makes her good. That's the way my mother was. I noticed she's just not as wiry. She's not sitting right in front of me demanding attention. But she just kind of stays afar off, and she'll come over and get her hugs and stuff for a minute or two, and she'll go out by herself, and she doesn't wrestle or fight or argue with anybody. She used to be so fiery and out in front, and now she's kind of slowed down, and it's just, I thought, my goodness, what it must be to go through childbearing. I thought, well, that's good for her, because she needed to be put back a nudge. Just kind of, she needed something to kind of slow her down, because she was a little bit, took things a little too far sometimes. And I just felt she was a little more selfish. But now I realize that selfishness, of course, was just her integrity. We have to understand that sometimes it doesn't look what it really is. With people, we might think they're not good people, but they're actually really good people. You know, they're actually better than we can even imagine. We just don't understand the situation. But I thought, that's nature. It's natural. And it's good for the dog. Now the dog can think. Now the dog's wise. The dog's been through, okay, I know what this is, and it's just, they've gone through that. It's over. And now they're just so much wiser. Remember how women used to be so sweet, kind? Childbearing is a part of life for a woman. It's their internal drive as a woman. That's that avatar we're playing. We're enmeshed in this world, and our identity is our conscious will that, if you guys knew, you would understand you chose before you even came here. But we're not a machine. It's our will. We chose it. It's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful experience. It's a classroom that people choose to go into. Once you come into this classroom or into this construct, and you choose it by your decisions through life, everything's like a maze in this earth. I mean, you're walking along, you find two trails, you got to choose between the two. But you choose based on your purpose. Oh, I want to go up the hill. Okay, I'll go the left way because that's going towards the hill. I want to get to the other side. There's a purpose in this. So that's all it is. We go through we're not told what class to go to. We make up all the rules. We're the rule maker. And this is the natural world. We're deciding, we're growing, we're expanding. And every leg of the way is an absolute reality that is reality because we choose it, because we only choose what we want, and therefore what we want is what is the biggest makeup of the universe. There's only a couple of rungs on the ladder that we didn't want because we didn't understand at the time. But this is all a big, beautiful quilt. And the quilt maker is the woman. She's the ever virgin mother that gives birth to her creation. I mean, wasn't that the idea back in the days? Like, oh, mother will know, grandma knows everything, and she knows all the herbs, and she can, if you're sick, you go to grandma. She knows how to make you well. If you just need somebody to talk to, you didn't go to dad. That's not dad's job. He's got testosterone. What does he do? He's out hunting. I don't know. He's got some other yearning. Well, that's evil. In our society, yes. But it was what made a man back in the day, my friends. It was what made us what we are. And our job is not just to have dingly dangly. Our job is to go into society, to make society function. Like ants have to obey the queen, you know. This is how it is, just to function. This is what life is. It's the actual reality of, there is no favoritism. This is just the way it is. This is life. So that all of us can live, we have to have parts, right? Soldiers and officers and, grunts. But that's in the negative sense. We're not armies. We're families. We're a family. We're all a family. We have little tribes. And each tribe is ruled by the tribal leader, the elder. And there are elders that get together out of all 72 of these little tribes. And each elder represents his people. No, you didn't vote for him in some machine that's cheating. You didn't get bombarded with advertisement falsely. You didn't only have one grandma to choose from, right? In other words, you could choose, but you got to choose this one. No, or Democrat or Republican. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, they're all from the same fraternity. But what I'm talking about is what we are. And we like being what we are, but it's our nature. But what makes a man do that? What makes a woman do that? You can't change that. I mean, you can change the body all you want, operate and mutilate and manipulate, but you can't change the fact that society, in reality, in order to function and be happy, has to live in the real world. We talked a little bit about that the other day. The real world, not some made-up world. It may go faster in the made-up world, but people are sick. Well, we make more people, so we make up for the ones that we kill. Yeah, each individual has a shorter life. They have more fear. They have more pain. And there's less space, so they all got to sleep in one little spot on top of each other. And they got to be brainwashed to enjoy it or to say they like it or keep doing it. So that doesn't work. You got to go by the actual natural way. It's designed absolutely perfect. You know why I know this? Because a woman desires her children. She'll kill anyone who gets near her children. But you say, oh, well, it's instincts. It's not her. What is a being? What is a person? What is a person? If we're being controlled, then we're not a self. A self is an autonomous self. We choose, we decide, we have free will. And we have not only the will, but the way. It's provided for us. That's the rule. You can't have a will without a way. And I got a will. I want. It's really the same. The thing that causes the want, the desire, the person being inside you. And I want life. I want to live. But what is that, an option or something? You're like, I'm already alive. There is no death. Why am I worried about something that doesn't exist? That's part of our problems, why we're here. When we overcome that, that's not really a problem. I shouldn't say that. That's what you were by nature. And now you're growing into and out of and beyond. Why? Because the fullness is every moment as you expand and what was becomes better. It just keeps getting better and better, like an unfolding flower. Everything that unfolds around the center is more beautiful than the next thing until you get to the petals. And beyond that, the color and the texture. And you can go on into infinity. There's layers of invisible powers that bedazzle your mind when you look at a flower, but you're not even physically conscious of it, but it feeds your spirit. And we have to live in nature. Nature isn't a computer. Computers imitate nature, but very poorly. At this level, you don't know the difference between a computer and nature. But if you could get back a zillion years from now and peer back into this world, you'd see the better as it goes a million years. You'd see that this was nothing. You can't even tell the difference between this and the animal kingdom. It's disgusting, rabid and mad. It's filthy. It's hell, and yet we can sit here and enjoy it like it's paradise at moments. But it's a pattern. It's a world. It just keeps getting better, and so it's not as good as that a million years from now, but it's so much better than it was a million years ago. And yet the people a million years ago, because nature says so, were okay. They were happy. They go for a time so happy to learn one lesson until they're done with that lesson. Now they don't need to learn that no more. Now they know it. They store that away in this other compartment of their self. And now this desire to learn more, it just never ends. You got to know different things. What's beyond that mountain? I don't know. Go beyond that mountain, there's another mountain. Oh, I don't need to know. Yes, I do. I can't stand not knowing. Maybe I won't go today because I'm tired from going, over the mountain the last few days. I'll take a day off and get some rest, and then I'm going to go over that mountain tomorrow. I will do it. Why? Is it me? Or is that the way everyone is? Is some kind of program? Are we just programmed? Are we not? Are we just being fooled? What if we were a computer? Would that be a living thing because it somehow acted like it could think? I don't know if they could do that. They claim they can make it a machine that's literally training itself and evolving. I don't know if that. I think theoretically it'd be possible. I don't know that it practically could ever happen. Not as long as we're the way we are now, I don't think. But anyway, that's a theory. Well, here's another way you could put it. They say when you die, you could just extract whatever's, your spirit and put it into the machine, and you can occupy and possess the machine. Well, I do believe you can possess machines because, demons are going to be doing that in the tribulation. But I don't think you have to put them in there. I think they go in there. Your will places you there. And so, yeah, it's just a machine. If a spirit goes in there, now it's a living thing because this, that's his body, but the spirit's all that's alive, the being. This machine's not alive. The knowledge that's in it, the data, isn't even really in it because it's on microfilm or something. It's fading. Sometime a fire will come through and burn it up, be gone, right? There's nothing but little I's and O's. We're more than I's and O's. I's and O's just replicate loosely. Like I said, if you went a million years from now, you wouldn't even recognize this. It's so unloose when you really think about it. Exponentially, if you go out further and further and further, you realize that we're completely different. We are so different than a machine. I mean, opposite. Machine is dead, is not conscious. Humans are being. We created the machine. Baby, we created that machine. A machine cannot create us. And if a machine acts like it's thinking, all it is doing is carrying out a program. Now, that program is programmed by someone, but the programmer cannot program the program to take away our program because our program is not in anything physical. There's nowhere for you to destroy it or get to it. You could get to me if you try to deceive me, and you could trap my mind in thoughts, which might be really the same thing if you think about it. Perhaps thoughts is how we're getting trapped in this world. And it's deception. And it makes us think and look at a world or see a world that we've made that we think is all there is, but it's based on fears and panic and anxiety and hate. And this is what we built. Dog eat dog. You got lions out there killing the rabbits, and but it's nature. It's absolutely natural. But didn't somebody program it to go from this stage to the next stage? Yeah, a machine, you program it to do that, to try and mimic reality. It's crazy, but it won't last. It's not forever, and it's not conscious. You're the consciousness making it. It's our gift to make our body. The body itself is not conscious. It's the spirit that is. We're just messing around with elements, material things, which are concepts. We can change our mind and it's gone. We can forget about it. Well, in some sense, you can't forget about it. Whatever is been thought of is actually a thought, and it's actually real, and it'll always exist, and it's part of you. You don't throw it away. It's not that part that's designed to be thought about all the time. It's the part that you use to think back on when you want to remember why it's so wonderful where you're at. That's, oh, that evil. Ugh. Now you know, oh, goodness gracious. Hallelujah. Oh, buddy, this is great. Now I understand why this is so great. I wouldn't want to be in the situation, but really all that is, because it doesn't exist, all that is your mind trying to go deeper and understand and enjoy the situation. You look around, you examine, well, look at the tree. Why do you got to say, look at the tree? Why do you got to look at the tree? Why do you got to actually look to think about thoughts about the tree? And thoughts are just little memories, and somehow there's another thing in there besides memories, is the will to image, to try and make up a new scenario. It's part of your being. It's so difficult. We couldn't grasp it, but it's not something separate from the thinker, but it's still there and enmeshed. They wed together like a woman and a man, and they produce vibrations and lights and colors and variables, immense and forever. The thinker and then the observer. The observer is the self that has this consciousness, because it's only the observer's perspective. You choose to perceive and understand and make what you will with the thoughts coming to you from the will. The will decides what to think because of his desire. The observer can be either a slave, as the woman has been, and that will happen for a period of time, when the woman hasn't understood that rather than observing these things from fear and thinking they're monsters and that they have power over her, she then realizes that her and him are one, and it's a reciprocation. He's willing and desiring things that he doesn't even want based on fear. And it's her love, her kiss, that will awaken the prince. So there's the observer and the thinker, the decider. The decider makes all the decisions, but he's making decisions based on the information. So the one giving the information is controlling the decider. He's only a decider. He's not getting and choosing what information to feed in there. These two have to work together, or there's going to be chaos in this marriage. They have to find love. It's the only thing. These two were in the garden, in the creation, in the beginning. They were there together, but it was the woman who partook of the fruit of the knowledge of good and evil. She's the initiator. And she gave unto her husband, and he also ate. Through her initiation into wisdom, mother is wisdom, as it says, Sophia, in Proverbs chapter 8. She is the architect of this universe. She was with the Father from the beginning. Why? Because she was one with her husband. And the two were in agreement. That's what it means. When they say, oh, there's no Trinity, it just means that they're three persons in the same agreement. In other words, they had one mind, one being that operated in unison and in love and an orgasm, Guess what? You put those two together, you get orgasms. But you got to lift the veil. You got to peer into the holiest of holies. And don't bring any defilement into that bedchamber, my friends. Because that's the rules of the game. The decision that is always made is come to after the suffering, after the pain that guides and directs the proper slot to ride on, that has less vibration, that can roll the easiest. There's no friction. When the man and the woman reach that place where there's no friction, where they're just humming like a rotary engine, they fly. Everything is just a variable. Okay, so the only difference between 0 and infinite is nothing. It's all one. But it's variables of it. So we start at one side to get to the other. That's all there is. But everything in between is a variable. Now, on one side, it's so solid. On the other side, it's just airy and invisible. There's complete opposites. You can't see one at all. It's like what? It appears to be nothing. And we're always like, oh no, but it's not nothing. It's where everything comes from. What? How do we know that? Well, why do we think in opposites? Is that we don't even know, but that's what we think it probably is. Why isn't the dark heavy stuff? Because symbolism. It's all in the mind. Heavy, man, that's heavy, man. In English, that means it's something you think about, but you're the thinker. You're the one controlling the controller, But you still have to have a doer. You have a thinker, the impulse, the will, and then the doing. Like, the Bible says, faith without works is dead. But not works of law, of course, but works of faith, works of love. So we have all these parts, but really it's just all the being. The being is all the parts, even the outer part. The outer part's the biggest, because it doesn't take much space for the mind, for the will, for the source. It's completely invisible and has no substance. And is everything. Well, then it's everywhere just like matter, right? So it's big too, right? Yes. Yes and no. It is everything. So yes, it has all the qualities of everything. You can't call one part big and the other part small, because the part that's supposedly small is the part that's big. Isn't that a mystery? Put that in your hat and smoke it. It's a mystery because it can't be conceived. It can't be understood, but it has to be, doesn't it? There can only be one. There cannot be many. There can only be one. Here, let me prove that to you. Beyond a doubt, there can only be one. So man and woman must be one in reality. Because let's say I take my concept of just one. I say, well, that's impossible. What about over there? Okay, so we got over there compared to what? The one. But since we only have one, over there is only being compared to the one side of the one. We're going to call that the right side, which is different than the left side, but part of the one. The center goes infinite. You put a little spot in the middle of that circle, and that little spot takes up space, even though it's very small. You can magnify it and cut it in half and cut that in half, and that's fourths, and you cut it to 16ths and 32nds and all the way down to infinity. Smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller to infinity. Inside the one whole. And looking out from that little circle, because that circle's inside the sphere, which is the universe, the one universe. And from the center going outward in a radius, you have the what is represented by the circumference of the circle. That's the radius. That's the all. Infinite outward. We can call them many things. Up and down, completely opposites. Male and female, completely opposites. Rough, hard, smooth, ragged. We can interject variables of color, sounds, shapes, philosophies, whatever. We make the universe, and it's all within the whole. It's within the male and the female. And that's all there is. Because when you get back and look at the whole male and female, as if it's just a concept that you're going to look at, the universe, the whole universe, everything, which, is in the whole, up and down, you can't comprehend it, but we're just going to do that for a second anyway. There it is. We represent it as though it's in a circle, a sphere. Because in a sense it is, because everything radiates from the center. That's how our mind works. That's how we understand it. And it goes out and radiates around in a circumference. That's the entire universe. But there's only one left and one right. But every time you make a left and you cut it in half and you take the left and you separate it, now you can cut that in half. You got a left and a right on that too. Everything's identical to the whole. So there are just as true variables as there is one. The variables and the microcosms of the macrocosm, the cell as opposed to the compound or the element, the family, the whole, the universe. Let's get back and put the entire universe in one symbolic sphere and look at it and say, what do we got there? It's not male or female because we're not thinking of all of its parts. We're just looking at it, the universe itself. What is it? It's only one. Is it male or is it female? It's neither, because females have to be with men and they have children. They have offspring. But this is called the Holy Virgin, something completely different. It's a virgin birth. It doesn't even have anything to do with male or female. It has to do with it gave birth to the universe by itself. It means the universe is here by virtue of itself. And nobody gets to say why or try to explain why, because now you're trying to explain the principle that runs the universe, and it's incomprehensible because it is the mystery of life. It is you, the ever immortal deity, divine, the Father, the Son, and the Mother. And therefore, even opposites and ignoramus, strange paradoxes have to be true. Have to be. The male and the female are one. That's the whole point. So there's no better or worse. We're all working on different projects that are trying to get the one project done. We all serve the Queen because something's got to get done. But I was thinking about my dogs, and she's changed. And I thought, well, if women nowadays aren't having babies, that's probably why, because so many don't anymore. I know they might have given birth or had abortions or things like that. But I mean, carrying, even if they had a baby, epidurals, they don't have to go through that pain. Or they just do C-sections or something. So I'm not saying everybody. Yeah, it could be traumatic still to this day for women. But for the most part, women are getting an unnatural birth, really, is what's happening. And it's not something's happening. It's changing. The women aren't going through the natural process that they should go through. Every woman should have a baby and have a family and raise that family. That's what women are in this world. That's their job. Well, then they're controlled. They want to be that. That's their nature. Like what? I got to defend being a mother? Like what do I feel guilty about even saying it for? This weird world we live in. It's all topsy-turvy, upside down. We can't even admit that men are hunters. Okay, in this world that we live in here. Well, yes, in every world there's a male and a female, a negative and a positive. And you've got to have a hunter. And you've got to have a builder. and the strong man. You got to have violence. But you also got to have kindness and love and wisdom, and know somehow or another that wisdom has got to be subordinate to the power, and the power's got to be subordinate to the wisdom, or else it doesn't work. If you had all wisdom but you had no power, you couldn't perform the wisdom you had. You couldn't do anything with the wisdom. But if you were all powerful and you didn't have wisdom, you'd kill yourself. You can't live without it. It isn't possible. And the thing of it is that I say the universe has to have both. But by saying that, it means that every individual in the universe has to have both. Yes, I am a male. That is my nature. And you are a female. That is your nature. And you're happy doing it. And that's the way it is. It's not a program. It's the reality that programs get their little dreams from to try and mimic. You know, you can draw pictures. Does that mean it's real? No, it's not real. It's a picture. I'm talking about the real. The reality. It's not a control. It's the way it ought to be. It couldn't be that way if you took the Earth from its place and position in the galaxy right now. It would immediately, spontaneously, still be there. You cannot remove it. It belongs there. It is destiny. And destiny is something you can't change. So why are we trying to live with free will? Because there's no time and space. It wasn't destined from all eternity in the past. It was destined in this very moment by not the past, but by your center, by yourself, by your decision, by your will. Whatever you will, it, boom, is. And if you just change the future because you figured it out just now, you'd never notice it because you didn't change anything. It was destined from the beginning. The beginning is within you. And in the beginning was the Word. And the Word comes from within you. And the Word comes from the will, the Father. It's the Son of the Father. And the Word was sent by the Divine Mother and her wisdom. And is guided by that wisdom. And the Word comes to make a path for His mother. And she comes riding on the carriage with 4 brute beasts holding and carrying her. She's got a crown. Her crown chakra that's been opened. And around her is a halo. Helios. El. She is now the divine. And the halo is represented by the 12 stars, which are all the realities in the circle, the circumference of the sphere, which is the perfect shape because the shape of the universe. Everything comes from the center and is expanding outward in all directions in the sphere. And everything operates and acts in the same way. And so I thought, how sad that they're not letting the women have babies. It's their nature. I don't know how they can bear it. And then I thought about the men. They don't let the men be hunters anymore. They don't let the men be violent. Why, if somebody gets in a spat and somebody touches the other person even, it's assault. And they go to prison. Like who's the thought police in this universe? And why did we invent such a thing? We can't be what we are. The male cannot be male and the female cannot be female. Isn't that why they're trying to change our children in kindergarten? They have a reason for their madness. They want to stop us. Remember what we were talking about yesterday is that they took the indigenous people from Africa and Spain and up the Iberian Peninsula. They took them to the Caribbean and Cuba and Virginia and Brazil, all up through there, and they populated the islands there. and they went on land and they became prosperous tribes, and they lived here for hundreds of years. But remember what the reason was? To sell them into slavery, that they cannot return to their own land and be a nation again. They tried to nip it in the bud, stop them from attaining power. Do you know why? Because they were so powerful and invincible. They were scared. They were scared, and they couldn't live together because they thought, well, if you become the ruler and you're black, what are you going to do to us white people? So we've got to fight you tooth and nail so that we're in charge. That way, we can just murder you. That's how the world has become, because somebody's messed it up. It isn't the reality. It's those people mecking around with these computers, changing our timeline. Well, what does that mean? Does it really mean anything other than just changing our minds, perverting our soul? That's what they're after. They don't want us to be male and female. They don't want us to be good. And yes, they've provided us a word, evil, but that's not the right word. There's the vibration on and the vibration off. One is sleeping, and you must have that. One is awake, and you must have that. Well, wakeness is violent, right? You stomp the ground when you walk. A bird beats the air when it flies. But you must have that life pulse. And this idea of evil, good and evil, that's another extreme. It exists, and that's why it was here, and it was introduced in our mind, but it's not the truth. It's only something to get you to think about the possibility that there's a good and evil. So you really understand, in the end, there isn't. Everything is necessary, and there's no guilt. And when you take away the guilt, you realize that your hand goes into the fire, it ain't going to stay in there any longer than it's supposed to, because you're going to pull it out because it hurts, and that's the way it is, baby. And nature is nature. It is life. And the male is, and that's what it was, and that's what it will be. And sometimes, because you're the thinker, the being, that you must be conscious of everything, sometimes you indwell that to feel what that feels like. Because you're the all. Now, you may decide that's not a good experience, and that should be put over there in the section where we don't need to do that anymore. Okay? But now that I've done that, I realize that these other things that just keep multiplying is because I will it to be. All the possibilities in my mind, do anything I want. I have free will. You can't take that away from me. You can never take that away from me. But if I'm suffering and wreathing on the ground in pain, it's because I wanted to feel what it's like, just for a second. You can't go very long doing something like that because your body goes into shock. And then your nerves just, you'll die. If somebody's not constantly taking you to the hospital and putting you on intravenous food and keeping you alive like some kind of a zombie, you'll die. And it's a terrible existence. You go through that one time, if that's what it takes for you to realize how awesome it is to sit on a beautiful, clear, almost green, crystal clear water creek, bounding over these huge boulders that bound down into this big pool that's just deep green. And there's even flowers up in the bluffs and little puffs of grass, big ponderosa trees towering over the edge, and people jumping off the cliff down into the clear, cool water. That's better. But we sit there for an hour or two, get some sun, feel such joy. And then we're thinking, while we're there, we're just thinking, oh, I got some other things I want to do. What? What do you want? Oh, there's some gold down there in that cave. I'm going to go in there and get it. I want it. Well, that's going to be a lot of work. You're going to have to dig, and you're going to have to dig, and you might not get it. Are you sure? Yeah, that's what I want to do. I want to work hard. That's what I want to do right now. It serves a purpose. Nobody ever just says, oh, I want to work hard just to work hard. Or you only do that because you only put up with it because you want the gold. Okay, so we're beings. We could be one side of the thing, one life, and another life, we could be the other side. Maybe we finally, maybe we only do that when we're real young spirits. We figure out what side we're at, where we are now. But since we are the divine being, the micro and the macro, exact duplicates of our Father, then I think that no matter who you are, you don't really want. I mean, it's not a blueprint. Nobody's controlling you, but it's just the life. Thank goodness there's life. There's reality. It is us. It is our desire. That's what makes the universe. That's the law. If whatever you want, you get. You're the creator. You literally get what you can receive, what you can allow your mind to believe is your worth. Because if you just think you deserve this, or you're somewhere in a beautiful place, there's so beautiful, you're like, I don't even deserve this. And some people say that for fun, but some people really don't feel that they deserve to be happy. I know when I was younger, I used to sabotage things, and I didn't understand it then, but I was sabotaging my happiness. I guess I just didn't feel like I deserved it. But then I realized that I didn't do anything wrong. I was doing pretty good. And I loved myself. And that they lied to me. And they took and stole from me. Stole my life from me. But, it's in the past. And I've got infinite eternity now. I let it go. I learned a great lesson from it. They took my go-go beans. They stumbled me. I fell down. And when I fell down, it hurt, and I even cried. And for a minute, I didn't want to even get up. I was like, you stupid people, I hate you. I ain't going to get up. I'm going to sit here and die then. That's how we feel. But, pretty soon, I felt better and started just sitting there thinking, and my mind drifted off in this area, and I was like, hey, I got another idea. And I completely forgot that, and I went on. And it was a good, I only remember it now when I need to remember that for a lesson. Like, oh, yeah, I remember when I did that. I don't want to do that again. So in your mind's constantly doing this. So we have to have all these experiences. I don't know how deep any of us want to go or have to go. Hey, maybe it's up to our own selves. I think it is. But I think some people do go down into the depths just to know and understand. And in a sense, it's like, how much, like a race. How far can you run and how fast? Well, look, I only want to go like, what's this world record? Okay, I feel good. Just give me an average so I can pass this class, right? And they'll be like, no, I'm going to go all the way, to the record. I'm going to try to get the record. I'll be in the book of records. I'll be something. Well, why? What does that mean, be something? You're not going to be something with a brownie button or a ribbon. That's the way we do it on Earth, to imitate. They do that all the time. Always imitating reality. They're doing that because the reality doesn't give you a brownie button. It gives you a gift of wisdom. Power. Wisdom is power. And I guarantee the people that run the show are the ones that are serving the others. That gives you more brownie points than anything you can imagine. And the only way to cash in these brownie points is to use it, as your power to help others. That's what it is. I mean, you get more and more brownie points every time you help somebody because you see you're getting power because you're giving them your power and it's manifesting in them and it's exponentially growing in others. It's knowing each other, shaking their hand. It's becoming one, talking, sharing, relating. Experience. Experience is the name of the game. Gnosis. Hereby, we have eternal life. Gaining eternal life by gnosis of deity. By knowing the divine. Remember, deity is not a bearded man floating around the sky, a big Michelin tire man. Deity is the divine being reality. You want to be everything. You're one with the universe. And you finally just get to a place where you know that you're in charge, and you don't accept negative, and you don't accept poverty, and you don't accept... I don't mean you get caught up in some slavery job. I'm going to keep working until I got something. You already got something. That's what you got to realize. At your fingertips. You have to just know and believe and have that experience to realize it works, so that you can do it right. You can't have any little tinge of fear. You can't have any psychological problems that you need some self-help for, because that's what life is for, is self-help. And so the self-help's got to come first. We've got to get ourselves helped. And we've got to put ourselves where it ought to be, with confidence, understanding. It doesn't help when these liars in the world today, and these teachers and scientists, or whoever they are not teaching us anything that would be helpful, but they're deprogramming reality, which is impossible. What they're doing is they're setting up an illusion. It's only an illusion. It can't be forever, but it's thwarting a lot of souls. Maybe some of them have made the pact to do this. And in so doing, we came down here to watch it and to help as many people out as we can. I don't know how that works, but I know that the idea that women aren't having babies is not good for the women. They don't even know who they are. They don't know that what they are is the doctor, the psychologist, the cook, the decorator, the planner, the idea maker. And the man, he's this brute. It's got to go out and work. Oh, he's got to do that? Oh, that's terrible. No, he wants to do that. That's what he is. In this world, when you play that part, that's what you are. And your body and your nature and everything's engrossed in it. It doesn't change. It's that you're in that nature. You're experiencing that nature. You can't switch. You're putting a cog in the wheel here, Mr. Scientist, and they know it. So the men aren't hunting. They're told guns are evil, except if you join the army and kill all the, gooks and the chinks and the terrorists, right? That have their own beliefs. And, we don't know. I was telling somebody else, in America, we all think that Muslim would be, yuck. We wouldn't want to do that. Oh, the way they treat their women. Ha ha. No. Most people in Saudi Arabia or the Middle East are probably secular. they probably worship the government more than we do. There's only a few people, religious people, that do that kind of thing. There's extreme religions, but they were created by the elite to give that appearance, to make you think that's what they are, and you start hating them. Right? They want everybody to think that Christianity is the same as when you turn the TV on, the guy's going, "In the name of Jesus, give me all your money." That's what a Christian is. Do you believe in Jesus? Oh, it's magical dust. Oh, and the leprechaun goes over the rainbow. And he goes home to heaven, son. Well, it's just a way to destroy the image and tarnish the path. If you got a tunnel leading off eternal life, you want to deceive people, you just sort of either put a curtain over it and a sign that says this goes to hell, and they feel like, oh, I don't go in there, But, I mean, that's only part of it, of course. That's only the tip of the iceberg. We can't even live in the environment we're supposed to be living in. We're in the cities, and we think we like it. I love my penthouse. I've got 40 square feet of kitchen, 100 square feet of living area, and 2 square feet of bathroom toilet area. And I look over this big balcony and I see all the town. The smoke and the dirt and the filth and all the noises and beep, beep, beep. It's wonderful. Sometimes we get a sunset or two. It's wonderful from the advantage of this height. Well, it'd be a lot better out there on a mountaintop. They got a lot bigger height, a better view, better air, better ventilation. There's flowers. You try to imitate that at your hotels. You try to make little paradises. Why? Because that's what everybody wants. So we're giving up paradise to go live in a fake paradise. Oh, look at how beautiful it would be if this was real, but it's not. But, oh, it's beautiful. Look at it. So let's live here. No, why not? If you think it's so beautiful, why don't you go out there and live in it? The real world. Oh, but mankind has forgotten. We've been denuded. They've taken our cranial goodasm right out of its center. And we're clamoring for our own deaths. Please build more prisons. Please build more hospitals. Oh, we've got to have more hospitals. We've just got to have more of those drugs that kill us. They're wonderful. We can't feel anything anymore. We just sit in our wheelchairs and watch television. It's wonderful. We don't have to do anything anymore. And we don't have to live very long in this awful world. It's the best. It's wonderful. We pay them all we have to get this medicine. So you see, we have free will. And the way to know if you've got free will isn't by taking a poll and finding out how many people are doing the exact same things. Because if let's say there's 1 million people, and we found that 1 million of them all do the exact same things. We ran it through a computer. And we say, yeah, they all walk. Okay, well, that's pretty similar. They all talk. Oh, there's 2. This is getting pretty astronomical, that these might be controlled. Because if they were doing what they wanted to be doing different things. But no, they all do the same thing. You know why? Because they're all part of the whole. And the universe has a place for everything. And that which we love is the same as that which is the best. And therefore, if you tend to want to do the best that you could do, just like all the other people, it doesn't mean somebody's controlling you. It means that you're choosing it. It's just a natural, comes from within the urge. And you're not being controlled by your own self. That urge in you is your own self, because it's like I said, there's the 2 that work together. So you've got, within yourself, you've got a desire. Where's it coming from? Oh, I'm suspicious. Who's controlling me? Anybody in there? Knock, knock, No, that's coming from you. From within you. In the most holy. Nothing can get in the most holy to defile it. Because it's you. And nothing ever will. We only had this stupid little earthly tent. And it got a little fake holy place that got defiled just to show us how we're acting. This is what would happen in this fake world. This is what would happen if you defiled that little area in there. Everybody would be running around killing each other. There'd be wars and famines and pestilences. There'd be earth. This is just a little classroom. We're in a drama. It's being dramatized before your eyes. You're allowed to just go because you're just a baby. You ain't got graduated yet. And you're just running around talking googly-gock. Playing games. Pretending for the real world when you grow up. So yeah, everybody seems to want to do that. Everybody likes the fall colors. Everybody likes the sunshine. Some people like, it's their thing that week. They like the rain. That's how we go through the world. So you see somebody on the downward path and you make fun of them. You're like, you were just there. Now you're on the upward path. You should just wish them well and speak positive instructions. And when you get down there, don't get eaten by that shark. Ooh, buddy, I was down there. Ooh, okay, have a good trip and bless you, sir. That's what you say to somebody on his downward path. You say a blessing over his freaking head. Make sure he comes back out safely. I don't know what's wrong. We're not teaching the children. That's what's happening here. And we can't teach the children because we ain't even have any children. And you know why? Because mommies, the ruler of this world, cannot be mommies anymore. And daddies, their co-regents, cannot be regent. And it's just stifling everything. And the worst thing is nobody knows it. We're all deceived. All we got to do is snap our fingers and wake up. You remember? That's how that got started. Somebody was going to teach his students how to be hypnotized. And he said, okay, I'll teach you how to hypnotize. You get a string and you put on the string a watch. Why a watch? Because it represents time. You got to have a lot of time. This is symbolic now. Pay attention. And you take the watch and you swing it on the string and you command the animal to stare into the string and watch the center of the clock. And you tell and command the animal to be sleepy. And you tell the animal to be sleepy. You tell them he's going to be sleepy. And you tell them when he's going to sleep. You want it to be at the count of 3? It is your command. You tell them and they will do it. Why? Because they are listening and trusting us. And if we tell them and we give it enough time and you get them focused on the time and our command, we can get them to do anything. And so some of the students thought that that was like literal. They took it literally, like some people are doing the Old Testament. And they got a string and they put a watch on the end and they thought, okay, this is what you do to mesmerize people. What's mesmerism? Well, it's something you just put them to sleep and they do what you say. There's no such thing. Not in that sense, but there is in a long-term sense. We're all doing what they say and they're waving the time clock and we're focused on our appointments. Hurry, hurry, hurry. Anxiety, anxiety. We ain't got enough time, which means not enough money because the watch was made from gold, you know. It takes a lot of money to make this fake world. And for you to get all you people to stare at it and believe in it and do it, it's just a big ha-ha. So then people start going around doing it literally, just like the snake charmer. You know, they're over there with their flute trying to charm the serpent. I don't know, maybe it can be done, but the point is that it was a parable based on some little story in reality to teach you that the body is the serpent, the material, and you've got to charm it. The flute is the instrument whereby harmony goes into the ear and tames the beast. It is by becoming a master of the vibrations of life. All of those notes are important. You've got to play them at the right time. You can make a symphony and you become the orchestra meister. You use just a magic wand and wave it in the air. All the little pieces of that harmonious tune is played by everyone, and you're the master. And with your little magic wand, like Moses who threw down his staff, you command the orchestra and you create the symphony. You are the maestro. You don't have to get eaten by the serpent. You command the serpent, son. Grasshopper? Well, I think I'll probably just leave it there, guys. I got a lot of things to do today, got some work to do, and we'll be moving into the dome here pretty soon. Got to go to town and get me a bed and then put it in there. And even though we're not done with it, we're going to start moving in because it's going to start getting cold out here. Hope you guys have a wonderful evening. May the Lord bless you guys. Or may you realize his blessings and give blessings to others. And we'll see you tomorrow. Have a good one.